Hey, Donovan. Dominic Kruger, how are you doing today? I'm great. I do have a time crunch. In 5 minutes, I'm starting a class. So I've got 4 minutes is what I got. Okay, go ahead. Yep. Uh-huh. And what do you do for a living? What is it you do with that information? Just to help me quick understand. Right? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Is it just you, the only user? Okay. Yeah, Salesforce Essentials can do it. I can, so there's a, so the way Adelaide described what she was talking about, using the opportunity record or even the case record to be, there's a way to, like, what you're, the technical term is you want to create a related list of every owner, every contact, if you will, and all of their properties. What I would suggest is, and I'm just going to give you what I think is the right way to do it, because my 497 package includes training you how to use Salesforce in all of its ways. And we can figure out different workarounds and other things. But I would actually just, for if you know the owner, I would put them in as an account, and then every property I would add as a contact, other than what she said. There's another app that can actually create with the limitations of the Essentials Edition. The way you would do it correctly in Salesforce is, just build another table of called properties. She's talking about using an existing table of data and just calling it properties. We can do that too. There's ways to do that as well. If you want, did you already set up a trial account? Okay. So pick a time for tomorrow. I can do what you're talking about. I'll take some time tonight. It'll take me about an hour to kind of set up a demo account in a trial, and then we'll just convert that trial over to when you buy tomorrow. And I'll do that for you in anticipation of you buying Salesforce and paying me my $497. Now, normally it's $1497. I'm doing $1,000 off my little package just for these guys to help them close out the year. So I'm helping them sell more. And my intention with the $497 is honestly that you pay me to coach you or support you as you move forward. And that's my little intro to what I'm doing it for. So I'm happy to do it. If you could send me a little snapshot of some of the data you're talking about tonight, that would be great. And then I'll give you a call after I'm done with this call. I'll be done at 3 o'clock your time. I've got something to do for an hour after that. But after that, you should be still around, and I'll shoot you a call then. I didn't know you were West Coast. Is that cool? All right, great. So shoot me a copy. I won't touch it for 2 hours, but I'll definitely get to it in a short a minute. You got it. Thank you. Bye.
Hey, Gil.
Hi, Gail. Hi, Amy.
Hey, Dominic.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Most excellent and getting better. Look at that. Amy's picture's right there. Look, Amy's here. Divya, welcome. Give everybody a few minutes to kind of come back. Come on, man. Get my face.
Hey, Divya.
Hey, Amy. Hey, everyone.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Most excellent and getting better. All right, let's see. So we're going to give everybody a few minutes to kind of log in the call. We invited some new people to the call. They're probably just getting used to everything. This is sort of the setup. We're just look. This is a charter course, so we're learning how things work as we go along. And let's see. Nope. I need. It is my. Yep, that's my guy. Let's see if that's it. Doesn't really matter. I might even scrap the whole developer thing. What? Oh, because I'm in a new. So if you would log on to Trailhead, make sure you log on to Trailhead, and we will. La 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 la. Where did my Welcome to the call. Jazz showed up. Okay. All right, all right, all right. All right, welcome everybody. We're going to give everybody a few minutes. Get on the call. What we're going to do is we're going to cover, because there's a couple new people, make sure everybody's got the Trailhead link, which should be in the calendar invite. I think it is. And we've got, oh, nope, no, I need to log back in. Who's that? And then courses.
Hi, Jewel. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you, Amy?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Good, good.
This week was a long one, but
We're getting through it.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to make it. And I want to welcome Mr. Nelson, Matthew Nelson. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Hi there, thanks. Happy to be here.
You have no idea, sir. Anyway, happy to have you.
Hey, Brian.
Hi, everybody. Getting there. Show you a few things we got going. Give everybody give everybody 2 more minutes. So if you haven't already, make sure you log into the trail mix that we're using for the class. I'm going to share with you a couple of things that we are in the process of fixing up. Let's see. We have a few people. Now I don't know where to go back to get to it. So we're going to do this. Just another minute. Oh, look at the voucher. I get the vouchers. There we go. All right, so a couple things. I'm going to show you this. This is what we're going to be working on. We kind of got it started on the fix last night, and I just want to show you this. So if you go to our website, salesandtechnology.com, you'll see a student dashboard. And so a couple of things haven't worked as expected, so we're fixing our technology. But the class material is the same, but look for this. So there's going to be a place where, for student dashboard, you will be able to, let me log out for a second so you can see me do it. I'm going to sign out. You'll go to salesandtechnology.com. If you go to salesandtechnology.com right now and go to student dashboard, if you try to enroll, the problem, you can enroll, but I don't have the voucher. I'm trying to find the voucher numbers we created last night. And so what this course will do is, and I'll set you guys up. Once you're in, what is this?
She looks like your type.
I can hear you, Matt. Oh, there it is, my login. You'll be able to access the course, and I'm redesigning the course a little bit. So next week, all of the lessons and all of the trails will all, at least for as far as we've gotten, will be inside this little guide. So then once you jump in and do the lessons, hang on a second, I'll show you. I will have the lessons built out with the links in it. This one's already done. So yada yada. I will. We're getting you into our section because we ran into some technical issues. Otherwise, with my Salesforce chatter group in my Essentials edition. So I've got to change up my edition where I was building it. I'm waiting on a technical fix. So we have a couple new people in class. What I want to do is have everybody introduce themselves real quick. We have Matt Nelson and Divya in the class. So what I'd like you to do is, and everybody's muted, I want everybody to unmute. One of the pieces of feedback, and again, you can do this, I don't know how this happened. Hold on a second. Why is my, that's not what I'm going for. Where's my other Zoom? Oh, there it is, my Zoom controls. So I'm gonna unmute everybody. One of the things that was feedback that was given to me by Melinda Monday was that it's really hard to flip back and forth between the screens, and I totally get it, right? So I'll do my best to slow down when I'm demonstrating things, but what I'd like you to do is speak up. If you need me to stop, slow down, or repeat something, I need you to speak up. So I'm not going to do the muting thing unless you want to mute and unmute yourself. I started, hopefully the meeting starts with everybody unmuted. And this is a class, it's interactive. Your job is to, interact and ask questions. So this I will share, make sure this is out in the world, see? And yep, it's public. Make sure you guys have it. Let me go through the chat again. And if you don't have If you didn't see it on the calendar invite, then please log into Trailhead. If you haven't signed up, gotten an account, do that. But I'd like to introduce Divya and Matthew Nelson with 2 T's. And I'll tell you a little bit about both of them real quick, and they can tell you anything else they want to tell you about it. Divya is in a program that's offered by a company called Merivis for veterans and their spouses. Divya, you're the spouse of an active duty military person. I am a veteran, so I have special dispensation love for veterans and their families. And so I'm coaching Divya. She's on a much faster track to get her certification. And what I told her was join in this class, get some questions answered. If you're ahead, then you can help other people and, collaborate with each other. And if you get certified early, then people can follow you and you can stay on the call and be a support to everyone else and learn a little bit more about sales and technology consultants. And so I invited her to the call and she'll be with us, but she's on a little bit different of a learning track, but she will be with us off and on during this course. Now, Matthew Nelson got me started in Salesforce. At least that's what he says. So,
I take full credit for the good.
Take full credit, Matt. Take full credit, right?
That's
So Matthew was the VP of technology. Is that right?
Yeah, digital.
Digital, points of light, whatever. Matt is a good marketing guy because he marketed his way into a full-on position and got the dealio from hands-on network points of light. So I did a training project. In a couple of weeks I came in and trained Salesforce to your team because it was brand new to those guys. And I really had a good time with it. And I wish I would have done more Salesforce strictly, like I'd have gone all in then. But 8 years later, I went all in. Really, 7 years later, I went all in. And it's been great ever since. So Matt's joining the class because he's actually getting back into Salesforce. So he doesn't have his certification. He's going to grab his certification while his one project winds down. And then we'll bring him in as he'll be a consultant for sales and technology consultants doing nonprofit or any other kind of implementation work or whatever he likes to do. We're going to work with Matt with that. So if that being said, that's the introduction so far. Does Divya, is anything you want to tell the group? And Matthew, after Divya, anything you'd like to tell the group? And if anybody has any questions of those two, please ask them now.
Hey everyone, this is Divya. So I got introduced to Salesforce last month, a few weeks back actually, and I've been studying. But I spend about 5 to 6 hours daily on the Trailhead, and I'm planning to get my certification in the 3rd week of February. And also, thank you. And I'm really thankful to Dominic for letting me attend these classes. That was super sweet of him. And I think these classes are very useful because you tend to forget certain things, and you have to, like for Salesforce, you have to go through the trails again and again to actually understand them rather than just doing your activities and going. Yeah, so if I get my certification, I'll be happy to help anyone, whoever has questions or whatever it is.
Yes. Hang out. You're part of the team after this, Divya. Okay.
Sure, thank you.
Divya. Anybody have any questions for Divya? And you're in Atlanta, right? Don't you live in Atlanta?
That's right.
Yep. And your husband's in the Air Force or the Army?
He's in the Air Force. He's currently stationed at Dobbins Air Reserve Base.
Which, by the way, is almost the military, but I still let those guys in. You can tell him I said that. He'll understand. I'm a Marine. So. Thank you, Divya. Anybody have any questions or comments to Divya? Okay. Mr. Matthew with 2T Nelson.
So yes, as Don mentioned, I brought him on board. I was working at Points of Light, and I was really a champion of Salesforce in the early days. We had some old technology managing volunteers and really needed to move to the cloud. So I brought that on board. We had and then ended up developing our volunteer management application on the Salesforce platform. So I managed a team of administrators and sales and support, and we developed a training and deployment program where we brought over 100 of our clients that were on disparate technology systems onto Salesforce within a year. So we really had it worked out. But unfortunately, kind of like Dom, I didn't jump full in and get hands-on enough with it. So I've been off working for Coke for the last 5 years, and now circling back around to kind of get more hands-on with this and help him build his business. I also spent some time with a Salesforce implementation partner that's focused on nonprofits. And so I managed administrators and partnerships, but didn't get my hands dirty really. So looking forward to jumping in and getting up to speed and working with you guys to get the certification.
That's beautiful. Anybody else want to have anything they want to say to Matt or ask him? All right, it's a beautiful thing. So, all right, I added, if I remember correctly, and really Amy is my memory. You guys don't have to mute, by the way. Y'all can stay unmuted. I'm gonna unmute you again. Because I do want this to be, I want to make it easy to speak and interact, right? And if you want to put on your camera, you can, you don't have to, but if you want to like show your face, or if you're not inappropriately dressed, it's a casual class. As you can see, I got my Salesforce t-shirt that says, that's how you know I'm an expert, because I have a t-shirt that says so. Lots of Salesforce swag. So I created this trail mix on Trailhead. And if you go through all of it, you'll spend quite a few hours. I added 9 hours to the trail from when I had already had it completed for Salesforce certification. So this trail has a lot more stuff into it, and I may move some things around. And like I said, I'm going to take the individual modules in the Trailhead trails, but they're always here in existence, so you know what you've done or not done. I didn't even get the get to know Salesforce one completed myself. I mean, I've trained this up in classes before. So when you go through it, it's really good understanding of what Salesforce is as a quick look. Basically the promotional ideas of Salesforce. The fourth industrial revolution that Salesforce talks about is about, we went through the Stone Age. That's not industrial revolution. The first industrial revolution was basically the assembly line and factories and electricity powered mechanics for production. The other two are whatever. This is now the interconnected things of technology, right? So everything's connected. There's billions and billions of points of data being generated every second, and managing that and understanding that and getting a hold of it. Customers aren't diving in, they're drowning from all of the information that gets created in the world today. So the fourth industrial revolution talks about where we're at in terms of all of the data that we're collecting. And I think this is funny. All of these data centers that are the clouds that all this data is being stored in is actually contributing to global warming instead of not contributing to it, which I think is awesome. So that's a good unit. Salesforce Customer 360, the quick look of that is that Salesforce provides, they're not trying to be the platform that, the only platform you use. They just want to be the only platform you use to conduct all of your interpersonal transactions. And so I know it says customer relationship management, but it really ought to be an interpersonal relations manager. So all of the transactional data you need to know, see, or operate with, Salesforce platform provides that interconnectivity so that you have one portal to go through to catch and move and manage all your data. We talk about and so that's a good trail to do. Fast app development talks about how you can customize Salesforce quickly and easily to match your business needs, right? And I'm doing a little bit of a dog and pony show to kind of catch you guys up. So, and then developer experience, I have no idea what that is, but in what you're going to learn through the course of this course in the remaining 28 sessions and this one is really a lot of developmental skills, which are called declarative. So there's two types of programming built into Salesforce. One is declarative, where you point and click settings that are built into Salesforce, which then never have to be maintained because Salesforce maintains them. The second thing is code, where you're writing code that's like JavaScript. It's called Apex or Visual Force. And it's code that you can do anything you want. If you can connect to the interwebs, you can write code to basically have Salesforce do whatever you want it to do. And that code requires maintenance. And we're not going to go down that tunnel. We're going to go down just declarative. And really only a little bit. We're not even going to go 100%. We're going to probably go 25%, maybe 30% of the features, which could cover 80 to 100% of what you need for your company and your organization. So it's not like I'm not covering things you need. I'm covering everything you might need. That's not too fancy. The last part is the Trailblazer community, which we're modeling that the community here in this class, and that you guys are a cohort. You guys are started the class together. I know some of you started a little late, but it doesn't matter. We're in it together. And by next week, by Monday, that little this little back end area, you'll be able to see each other as students. You'll have the recording. These are all the students that are currently enrolled. Some of them are just test users. And then you'll also be able to, so interacting with each other, kind of like Facebook, but not a lot of functionality in that regard. And also, like, we'll be able to keep abreast of, there's like a timeline or a social aspect to this particular training module that we have. And any courses that you're enrolled in, which will just be the Salesforce SuperHero Sales Administration course. Now, I'm putting all that together, but again, just follow the trails and you'll be all right. I'll be your trail guide. Now, this is, I was doing this today. In Salesforce, you can maintain your certifications, where it says, when you go to Trailhead, one of the things you can do is in credentials, you can maintain your certifications and complete trails. After you get certified, you have every release, which is 3 times a year, you go through, do a trail, and then that maintains your certification. Basically keep you up to date on the new features, the most important features that Salesforce releases every time it updates the software. And that's what I was talking about, declarative programming. When you program with points and clicks, not code, then what happens is, as Salesforce adds features and new functionality, all that stuff is going to work the same way you left it, because they won't release it without it working that way. So just know that you maintain it now. The benefit to this is that you don't have to pay $100 a year and steal the answers off the internet to take the test to 3 or 4 times a year. So now you can do it on the trails. So that being said, I want to jump into, so that's one trail with 5 modules that we've got. And so that's the next trail for you guys to do. I think that was on the assignment. Amy, do you remember? Do you have the email with the assignment? Because I think I broke down on the last class and we were so busy trying to.
Hold up, hold on.
So this next trail is called Prepare Your Org for Users, which is what we touched on last class, where we added users to your org, right? If Matt and Divya, one of the things we did, we had everybody set up a developer account. Matt, you've done that before, right? At developer.salesforce.com. It's a free version of Salesforce, fully functioning with the memory of a gnat. It's like, so you got very little memory, but all the features and functionality, so that you can't really use it as a free account, but you can, depending on how much data and how many records you use. So we were talking about adding a new user, but there's also what we're going to cover today is preparing your org for users. So there's a couple of things that you got to be aware of before you start adding users and customizing your database, is really setting up your organization for users and data. Does that make sense? So there's some things at the company level that we're going to address first. And a couple of those things are, we're going to talk about exchange rates and how to update the exchange rates. We're going to customize the homepage. We're going to go back to list views again. Now, if you remember the earlier classes, we did list views. Oh, wait a minute. Let me, I got something I need to do. I am recording, but I'm going to go, see if I can go live on Facebook real quick, or live on YouTube. I'm going to see if I can record this straight to YouTube. We'll see if that works. I'm going to set it to unlisted. And then I'll just so I have an easier way to get you the recording before the Zoom renders and all that stuff. See if that works. So if you haven't logged into your developer account, please do that now. Or if you want to just set up a Trailhead Playground, that's the same thing. We'll talk more about that as we go along. But this developer account, the intention behind this is that you've always got one account that's yours that won't disappear as long as you keep logging into it. So let's talk about how you set up the company information and profile. So we're going to jump into the setup menu. So if you click on, if you're in, is everybody logged in? Anybody not logged in to their developer account or a developer account? I'll give you a minute to do that. So go to login.salesforce.com. If you remember your username, it should be your, oh, I know what I did. Hang on a second. So let me just, I did my username. I think the way I said was your initials plus January 2020 at superhero.com. If you put your initials plus January 2020 at superhero.com, which is not my website, it's not a real email address. Does anybody remember why I used this format for my username? Anybody remember why?
Has to be email format.
Exactly, right? So one of the three types of unique fields built into Salesforce, one is email, can be unique. That's a unique identifier. Text, like a password, would be unique. And the other one would be a number, like a social security number would be unique, or a phone number. So when we log in, I'm going to have to verify my identity because it's a new browser. Does anybody know what's going on here? Why am I verifying my identity? Anybody know?
To make sure you're not getting hacked, I guess. Or
No, too fancy.
Because you haven't logged in that fashion before.
Yeah, let's talk about this for a second. So this is part of security. What I gave Salesforce when I logged in was a username and password. That's something that I know, correct? You know your username and password, or your Google Chrome browser, or your whatever paid for password memory program remembers for you, right? That's something you know. Something you need to have in order to log in, because it's a combination of username and password plus something you have. So something you know plus something you have. And that is a cookie on the browser. So if anytime you log in from a new browser, Salesforce activates the browser or verifies your identity. So it sends your user record an email or a text if you've set up your mobile phone, so that you can load the cookie into your browser so it knows it's you and not somebody just with your username and password like a hacker. So that's one of the things in security. It's important to know that because that's actually on the test. So when we go through the review, you'll be like, I knew that. You told me about it. It's on the test. I'll repeat it several times. We have other stuff that we'll do with it. So I just want to make sure you got that, right? So it's something you know and something you have. And we'll talk more about that as we go through security and through the setting up your organization for users.
so as a first time, Dom, a question. As a first time user here, do I need to set up a new account or use that email to create a new account, or what am I using?
If you have it, what I'd like you to do is set up a developer account. So if you
Okay.
went to developer.salesforce.com,
Okay. Start there.
Use your email and the username. Isn't it great when my browser works faster? By the way, developers got a lot of tools and resources if you want to go down that technical path. But you put in your information. Your email can be the same.
Okay.
But when you put your username, I recommend, Matt, what's your middle initial?
CMN, Charles Matthew Nelson.
So I put CMN January.
Yeah, I got that. All right. But that's my username. All right.
At superhero.com, just because superhero.com is like a weird website. There's not a lot of emails and no one's going to be formatted like that. And you won't get an email to it. Anyway, you'll get an email to your email address. And then you got to check your email to activate the account. So I'll give you a chance to do that if you haven't done it already. And is everybody else logged in? I don't know if you got, Amy, can you see?
I'm logged in, but my screen looks totally different from yours.
Don't worry about it. We'll get you there. We'll get you squared away. Can you see the list of participants on my screen? When you look at my screen, can
Yes.
you see, or is it a big gray box? Okay. So if you pull on your Zoom meeting, if you pull up the little tag thing at the top or the bottom, and you hit manage participants or participants, yours would say, then you can give me a green checkbox when you're done, when you're logged in and ready to go. And that's for you, Matt, but everybody else, want to make sure you guys are logged in. Gil, thank you. And this is me slowing down. I'm not trying to,
Thank you.
trying to make sure I slow down. So Amy, yours may look different because I clicked the setup menu. Yours may look a couple different ways. So
Okay, I don't even have, okay.
are you in Classic or Lightning? Let's go there. Because sometimes you'll load up in Classic. It just does it. How you know you're in Classic, let me show you, is it looks something like this.
Nope. It says developer.salesforce.com.
Did you hit login?
Yeah. I'm logged in.
Do you remember your username? Oh, wait, you logged into developer.salesforce.com.
That's what I
Okay.
heard.
Gotcha. So, good
Is that
point.
not what we're doing?
Hang on. Let's see. So go to login.salesforce.com because that makes a difference. I've never tried to hit login at developer.salesforce.com, so let's see what it does. No, it should take you to the same place. And do you have your whatever at January 2020 superhero.com login, or do you use some other? And you can share your screen with me too, Amy. Am I not sharing? Did I stop sharing for something? No. Hi, Melinda. Welcome to the call. Can you hear us? Oh, I can't hear you, Melinda. You might need to call in. Okay. Matt, how are you doing? Are you there? Are you here?
Yeah, I'm in there.
Perfect. Divya, Julia.
Yeah, I already logged into the developer org. So what's the difference between developer and the playground? What I understand is when for playground, you don't have to have an email ID or anything. You don't have to create an account. It's just a practice.
That's right. You log in a little differently. When you have a playground when when you have a playground in Trailhead, you don't have to log into it. You just have to launch it. So if
So is that the only difference? And I know that in a developer org, you can like have your own company name, like create a company name and have your own background, like a company logo, and customize it like you want.
yeah, developer is a fully functioning toolbox. Like it's a
Got it.
fully functioning instance of Salesforce, and it allows you to basically do it basically allows you to do anything you need to do in Salesforce. So, because it's a developer account, you can create customizations and then load them up to your production environment.
Got it.
So while I'm going to go through this trail, and it talks about setting up exchange rates, and we'll do a little bit of that, but I want you to get logged in because I'm going to take you on a tour of the setup menu for your org first. So Amy, how are you doing? I chatted you and I didn't get a response yet. And Brian, are you good? Amy's good. Melinda, do you have your org open? I can't hear you, Melinda, by the way. So
Hey, John.
yes.
Yeah, I'm on this. I'm on there also. I don't have as many menu items as you do. I only have like a couple though.
Not worried about that. That's okay. I just want to make sure you're logged in first.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Sorry about
Okay.
that. All right.
Because ultimately, if yours doesn't say sales, you're in a different application. And this is good, right? Because some of you guys are getting used to what Salesforce looks like on the front end. Like if you're not used to Lightning, Matt, you haven't used Lightning, have you, much?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so Lightning is very similar to Classic, but it's different. And I will, Amy's got it, Divya. Okay, Divya, you all squared away? You got it?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do an orientation, right?
Tom, I apologize. Mine doesn't say sales. Mine says setup, home, and object manager.
Perfect, leave it there. It's totally
Okay,
fine.
cool, good.
Totally fine. So if it came into setup, that's totally fine too. I'm going to start you wherever you're at. I just want to make sure you're logged in first. I can't show you if you're not logged in, and I can't tell if you're logged in if you don't tell me that I can move forward. So remember the green check boxes? It's a little internal communication tool. So, are you logged into the org is all I'm really checking right now. So Amy, you say you're still not there. What is that? Are you logged into the org or? Okay, Divya's good. Thank you. All right, Melinda's good. Thank you, Melinda. Yeah, it's fine. So here's how we're gonna get the screen to match. So we'll go through the other videos, show you how to tour the screen and what it all means. But if you go to the gear up at the top right-hand corner next to the bell, everybody got that? Click on that, and then choose setup. Now, if you're already there, fine. Wait till your screen may look like mine. So when you're in setup, the screen looks a little different, right? You've got two tabs along the top. You got home and object manager. And then you've got, and we'll go through those real quick. So Matt, you might be used to setup in Classic where everything's in one side panel along the left.
Right.
Yep. And that's totally, I'll show you guys that. Let me duplicate this. I'll show you what that looks like. So if I were to switch, so again, it could look, there's several ways that your screen could look. That's what I'm trying to address before we move forward. But this is good because you need to know there's Lightning, there's Classic. There's the end user view, and there's the setup view. In Classic, you just go to setup by clicking setup, right? A couple ways to get to it. There's everything's here. It's very similar, but it's different. In Lightning, the setup splits all of your controls, features, and functions from all of your tables of data, which are called objects. So we're not going to mess with any of the object stuff yet. We're going to get to that. These are where you collect data in objects. So company information, activity information, campaigns, cases, contact, all those things are different types of data separated in the object. So is everybody on this screen now? Like anybody not? Let me clear all these. So what we're looking for is you're in the setup menu of the directory, and we're going to go to back to company information. So if you just type in company, C-O-M-P, will filter out, and you can see there's a whole section called company settings. Everybody good with that? So let's start with the first thing. We did this last class. The company information. Where do you find out the basic information about your company and its relationship to Salesforce? And when you're looking at company information, it should tell you who the primary contact is. And that's important if you have a change in administrator or a change in decision maker. In some cases, in that regard, it tells you some of the default settings of the organization. So I want you to think in terms of layers. So the big overarching layer of settings is the company settings, things that affect everything and everyone in the company. Some of those things are the default locale, the default language, and default time zones, right? There's got to be one single reference point to convert all around the globe to, and that's based on the company information. So your company information should always, that typically gets created at setup when you first sign in and get Salesforce set up. You typically have, you have an idea of how much space and file usage. Some of these basic information things that just tell you like the framework of your company and with Salesforce. The other thing that's really important to note here, and this is not on the test, but notice you've got this. This is your organization ID. So of all of the companies that use Salesforce, each individual one is called your org ID. So when they talk about what is an org, that is everything contained inside Salesforce related to that one ID. And every time you create an organization, you get an organization ID. That'll be important in advanced classes down the road. It's just important. You can see that I've got the developer edition. Let me move my screen a little bigger so you can see it better. And as I scroll down the page, I get a really good idea of the types of licenses that I have available to me. Now, why is that important? Licenses control how many users can do the thing that they have a license for, right? So Salesforce, the Salesforce license is the one, when you look at the pricing of Salesforce, that's basically a Salesforce license. 25, 75, 150, or 300 are the 4 basic editions that you can buy. There are Salesforce Platform, which is really a different kind of license. You've got a customer community, which is a different kind of license. So it gives you access to different information based on how much money you pay Salesforce. And again, you're given a lot of different licenses here in your developer org, which is why I wanted to show you that. So you can see, and I just clicked the view all link. I got to go back to Classic. So it won't show, that's interesting, that won't show any lightning. Oh, by the way, whenever you're in Classic or you're watching a video on Salesforce and the person's teaching you something about Salesforce, and they leave this banner here, just end the video. Just cancel it. They're not managing really well, obviously, screen space. I can't stop Salesforce from advertising to you, but I can show you how to close the advertisement. You're limited on screen space, so, you know, use it well. So here are my user licenses. Again, these are all of the different licenses that you can buy from Salesforce. There's actually more in here that you can buy. But you can see there's different licenses you can have and how many, you know, when they expire and whole nine yards. So you're managing what users can see and do. Now, as an administrator, you're in control of all the things that your company users can see and do as an administrator. So you find that out, you know, you're only limited by your licenses and the number of users you have in order to give people everything that they need to see and do their jobs. So let me go back to my organization. The other thing that's important is looking forward to the screen. Oh, the fiscal year. So typically, if your company has a different fiscal year than the Gregorian calendar, that's the January 1 to December 31st, 2020 calendar, that calendar, if your company has a different year, you can change that fiscal year. You can also change your business hours, your holidays, your language settings, and of course, GDPR, data privacy in there, which isn't, it's relevant, but we're not going to get too deep into it. So under company information, the first thing you want to make sure is that you know all the basics about your company. How many licenses do we have? How many users do we have are using those licenses? How many, what's our fiscal year? All of those things, right? So if we go back to the trail, you can see that the first thing they want us to do is set up the exchange rate. Setting up the exchange rate is if you're taking multiple currencies other than your default currency. So the first thing.
Okay, how did you get back to the trail? What did you?
I'm on the trail mix that I sent in the chat.
Okay, so you went to a different tab.
I went to a different tab.
Okay.
Right? Went to a different tab.
Okay, that helped. Okay.
Yep, I'm on Trailhead. Thank you. So a couple things you have to do in order to collect money in different currencies. Now, why is this important? Well, if you sell outside the States, the United States of America, or you sell to somebody that the invoice needs to be in their currency, not yours, then you have to activate multiple currencies. Otherwise, by default, Salesforce says you probably only sell in the currency that you use, but not a lot. I mean, a lot of companies, because of the interwebs, it's easy for us to now take money in different currencies. So the first thing you have to do is you have to activate multiple currencies, right? Then you got to manage the exchange rate. Like Salesforce doesn't plug that in for you. You have to manage it personally, manually. Now there are apps that'll do this for you if you do this a lot, but not a problem. But that's just the way it is. Then we're gonna build out a different homepage for different types of users. So just because everybody works at the same company doesn't mean everybody needs to see everything the same way. Salesforce is way more flexible than that. Salesforce allows you to set up the view of the data so that it's appropriate by every group of users that you have in your organization. Now, most of you have pretty small organizations, but we'll take Julia, for example. Julia works at a company. You've got recruiters, you got account managers, you probably have accounts receivable people, you have executives. I know, I've met them. What other types of users work? You have, what other types of people work at Computer Futures, Julia?
So we have like legal, back
Legal?
office people who do onboarding, But yeah, within the sales organization, there's, you know, vice presidents, managing directors, down to the most junior consultants.
Exactly. So they don't all need to see all the same data. That would create clutter, and clutter creates confusion, and confusion creates inactivity, not activity, not action, right? Clutter and confusion cause inaction. We want people to take more action, more effectively, more often, whether it's sales or supporting sales, which are, by the way, the only two jobs in the world, just so you know. There's sales and everybody that supports sales in the mind of a salesperson. And then we'll go back, we'll revisit list views like we did before. We did it on leads, now we're gonna do it on accounts. And then we'll create another chatter group like I tried to create in my organization. Right? Perfect. So from the trail, we are gonna enable, so the good thing about Trailhead is it gives you the exact steps for these examples. So it kind of gives you rails, but there's shoulders on the road and you can kind of move a little bit differently. So what I'm gonna do, we're already in the setup, we're already in company information, and we've checked our company information. Now I'm gonna show you a little trick. If you only have one screen, if you take, I'm holding with my right index finger, I'm gonna grab my tab and I'm gonna move it off the list of tabs, and then I'm gonna minimize it, and then I'll resize it a little bit so that I can actually work with my instructions and work with them simultaneously. So if you're on a Mac, I have no idea how you do this, and I'm gonna move it off the list of tabs, and then I'm gonna minimize it. Who's doing that? And then I'll resize it a little bit so that it can actually work.
Not me.
Instructions.
Is that your YouTube video playing right here?
Simultaneously. So if you're on a Mac, I have no idea how you do this. Yeah, I'm looking. It might be.
It sounds like it's your own recording that you were just saying.
Yeah.
I know. I did not do a loop. Hang on, man. So that it can actually work. Okay, so if you're on a Mac, I have no idea how you do this. Yeah, I'm looking. It might be. I have no idea.
It sounds like it's your own recording.
I know it is. I know it's my own recording. I know. I did not do a loop.
Close your YouTube window.
I don't have my YouTube window open. Oh, wait. Maybe I do.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Oh, wait. There you go.
Oh, whew, that was weird. Okay. Well, I think when I pulled it apart, it got weird. Okay, so I'm just showing you a little trick. This is a little bit of a training trick. If you resize your windows, you can do this on a Mac or a PC. I think it's a little easier on a Mac. Typically, Mac users always keep their windows in resize mode. But I am going to go, that's the wrong window I grabbed. That go there. So there. Okay, so this is just a little bit of an easy way to kind of keep both windows open. It gets a little bit challenging. I know if you have a second monitor, just as an FYI, anytime you take online classes, if you have a second monitor, it helps out a lot. But hopefully I'm slowing down enough for you guys. Okay. So we're going to go through this enabling multiple currencies. And it's important to be able, if you need multiple currencies, but it also helps you understand how the company settings interact with all the other individual user settings. And we'll talk about those when we, next. Company. So if we go to company settings, right under here, if you type in company and setup and go to company information, that little piece of the puzzle. And I want to reset because now and I click, you got to be careful around these because they'll pop up. You'll get a little mouse understanding of it. So click edit. And no, I can't collapse that. But what I can do, if I don't need it necessarily, and I want to give myself a little more screen space, and kind of go back and forth and let a little overlap happen if I need it. You can resize the windows a little bit. So if you've clicked edit on your company information, you can check out your default locale, default time zone, which by the way should be your default time zone. So I'm going to go, you set these settings, right? Reading the screen. Now, locale, I'll give you a little, this is always on the test. I don't know why, but you need to understand what locale is. If I speak American English, then I like to see things the American English way. So month, day, year is how we format our dates. Whereas the UK, they go day, month, year. Isn't that right, Julia? Day, month, year. And it always messes me up. Over 12 in the beginning. Under 1 to 12, I always think it's month, days. And then over 12, I'm like, why is a month 27? Okay. So the locale settings or how Salesforce presents things like name, numbers, date, those kind of things, right? Things that change. So it could be the kind of English that's in Canada or the kind of English that's in Jamaica. So just know that, pay attention to those settings. And if you're setting up your own org, you only have to do this once. Now, I will give you this about the test. The certification test is based upon the theory that you set up orgs every week, that you do all the customization that we do in the 5-day class every week, and you know it like the back of your hand. So what's going to happen in this class is you're going to forget a lot of stuff that we do early on, but we'll do a review a couple times with the test and the questions so that you'll be reminded of it, so that you're really immersed in it. But let's just go through the material and you'll see how it pans out. But know that we're going to go review all the stuff again when you're ready to take your certification test. So the goal of this class is to activate multiple currencies. So as we scroll down the page, you can see that our currency locale is English, US dollars, but we want to activate multiple currencies. That's all you got to do. It's one little click. And then click save. Everybody got that? So you went to your company information setting in the setup menu, you clicked edit, you checked the checkbox for multiple currencies, you made sure your locale and your language and your time zone were correct, and for the most part, your company's good. Now, anybody got any questions or comments about that? So now we're going to go let's see, English USD, then the company currency settings section. Save from the company information page, click the currency setup. So now we're going to do currency setup. Where is my this is new. They changed this around a little bit. Suckers. There it is. Currency setup. That's a new button. How you like new buttons? It's been, when's the last time I taught this class, Amy? December? No. Yeah, December is the last time I taught this class. It's changed since December, last release. So
yeah, it was December or November. Yeah, one of those. Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is all like, I was like, so look, when I tell people, when I teach end users how to learn Salesforce, I tell them read the screen. not because I'm trying to be flippant, but because the screens change with Salesforce, sometimes every 4 months. Not everything changes, but little things change all the time. So click currency setup, and now we're going to add a few currencies. So the first thing we need to do is create, so we have a US dollar. You can see here on my screen. Can you see it okay? It's a little hard. I'm going to make it a little bigger, but it doesn't really do a good job. It enhances all this. Let me make this a little wider here. So you can see your active currencies. You've got US dollars. Everybody good with that? You want to add a new currency, which is the next step on the guide. So we click new. Let me make this a little smaller. Okay. So we pick from a list of available currencies. These are all established global currencies, not Bitcoin or any weird crap like that, right? So let's do the euro. So we're gonna add the euro, and we need to add a conversion rate. Now, the instructions say 1.5. And it doesn't matter if it's right. Like, it doesn't matter if it's the right exchange rate. That's not the point of this exercise. So did everybody complete adding the euro currency? Or does anybody need more time? Or mean to show them something else or you get stuck somewhere? Now, depending on how the next instruction, depending on how you got to your setup menu, you either have a tab that's still open with your front end menu, or you need to click the 9 dots so that you can open up the opportunities tab. I'm going to go back to my front end tab. I'm going to click on the opportunities tab. And because I don't have any, I have a couple of recently viewed opportunities. That's fine. I am going to click the new button and we're going to create a new opportunity to test our currency. Is everybody good with that? Click new. So I'm going to put, now this is a lightning feature. Check this out. In the amount field, I'm going to put 10K. What does 10K mean in the world?
1,000.
10,000. But I don't want to type those zeros. I want to type a K. K, there it is. It puts it in for me. You like that? I like that. It's a lightning feature. Now I got to give my opportunity a name. We're going to call it the Euro currency test. The close date, which I know it's not going in order, but let's see what the next tab is. Yeah, private close date. Just click on the calendar box and click today. It'll automatically add a date, or you could scroll in it. I don't recommend. Typically, some of you are new to Salesforce. You'll figure this out eventually. I don't really recommend typing in a date. Human beings are not structured enough sometimes. If you are and it works for you, go right ahead. I typically just pick the date. It's just easier. I'll sometimes forget and it won't recognize it, and it just pisses me off. Okay, we're not going through all of these fields. They don't really matter, but the one field we want to do is notice that now that we have multiple currencies, we have to pick which currency are we selling for this opportunity. Now, remember we talked about so far that there are terminology challenges with Salesforce. People have different words for the same things in Salesforce, and that's not good. So a lead, who remembers what a lead is?
An unqualified opportunity.
It's a business card, right? You've got company information and you've got personal information on it. They're totally, you're right about unqualified, but I'm challenging you, Julia, with the word opportunity. You don't even know if there's an opportunity there yet. That's the qualification.
Right.
You don't even know if they're qualified to deserve your time in pursuing to get their money, right? You have to pursue, you have to qualify a lead to see if they fit your criteria as a potential customer, right? So that being said, when a lead is qualified, then you convert it to the company information. And here's how I described it earlier today, that when you pick up this information and you start meeting other people at the company, it's hard to keep all that information in one place. So we separate it so we can get all the clarity we need for all the people that work at that company. Those are contacts. And then if you're engaged in a conversation to make money, that's the opportunity record. Now, from a executive point of view and a salesperson point of view, both, the only place you make money in Salesforce is by managing and moving opportunities from start to finish and closed, right? So anyway, all that being said, this opportunity we're selling at the euro, and then we're going to click save. Whoops. We're actually going to just save it as closed won. So we're just testing the currency. And now when we look at that opportunity, you can see that while it's 10,000 euro, it's only worth $6,600 US dollars to us because of the exchange rate. Does that make sense to everybody? Did everybody win that opportunity for 10K euro? Okay, now. Oh, I didn't pick what company did I pick? Oh, this is weird. For some reason, I missed the account and it let me save it because it's a developer account and it's wide open. So I'm going to put in United just so I can make United Oil and Gas UK. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Okay. Save it. So I created an opportunity, right, for 10,000 euro, and I can see that it's worth $6,600 US dollars. Everybody got that? Any confusion? Now, here's the problem. Exchange rates don't stay the same, right? So I'm going to go click on the tab that takes you back to the currencies. So right now I'm in my front end on the opportunity. I have a tab, my setup tab is open. So I'm going to click the setup tab. And I'm going to go back to my currency section, right where you left it. And I'm going to click edit rates. Let me know if you're stuck anywhere. When you see the rate, I'm going to change it to 1. Now that I've changed the exchange rate, what do you think is going to happen to the conversion of 10,000 euros on my opportunity? What do you think is going to happen?
Be 1-to-1.
Exactly. But wait, it didn't reflect.
You need to refresh.
Exactly. Now, that's just a lesson to know about Salesforce. Salesforce pages do not refresh automatically. You can trigger it with automation, and you can leave the page and come back and that'll refresh it. But if you're static on a page and you don't make any changes, it's going to stay the same even if changes happen in the background. And that's the way it's supposed to be. So I said, but wait, I changed the exchange rate. Let me refresh the page and that change will take effect. Sometimes when you're clever and you're an admin, you're working on a page and you do and you go make some changes, you come back, you don't see those changes, you have to refresh the page. So notice now with the exchange rate, it's 1-to-1. Now what's the problem we just created? This is a deal we set. This is a deal we already made. We already counted the money at $6,600. Now the economy changed. And if we change the exchange rate, it actually changes history of that record when we look back in time. This doesn't always happen on the same day. So it causes a problem in terms of, in terms of historical reporting. Because as I move through and as the exchange rate changes, it automatically changes all of the math on all of my past closed opportunities. So it's specifically problematic. Does that make sense, everybody? So it's 3 months from now. So if today if today the exchange rate was 1.5, and I won the opportunity, and 3 months from now I change it to 1, it's going to look like I made more money in end of January than before. So that's a problem. So if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and complete let me do it right now. Oh yeah, this is one of those that you can, okay, this is where we got to stop. So if you created a developer edition, which most of you did, in order to test this step of the trailhead, you need to log in and do that work, to have it check your developer org. Who just left? Okay, you need to check the developer org. So to launch your developer org, click the little My Trailhead Playground and log into Developer Edition. And that'll bring you to your developer playground. And then you can connect that org as one of your playgrounds, but it's your developer org. So all the work we're going to do in this class through these trails, you'll be doing it on your developer org. So click yes, save it. And then you can literally launch right from Trailhead in the future, and today and in the future, you can launch your developer org based on your username. So I'm going to give you a chance to make sure you get that squared away. And let me know if you have a question or comment. Give me a green checkbox when you're done, or put it in the chat when you say complete, if you're complete with this step. I'm going to launch my org, which it's already launched. And then,
yeah, I missed the beginning of that. Where do you go to connect?
So here, when you go to take the test for this step,
yeah. Oh, I see. Log into developer. Okay, I see.
Yeah. Got it? Everybody get that? So from your Trailhead org, you can say log into a developer edition, and then it'll ask it, once you log into that developer edition, it will, I should have done this at first, but I forgot that this was the first thing I was going to do. So it's fine. And then you can log in, and then you can verify to earn your 100 points. Click verify. When you're done, let me know. Any questions, comments? Oh, what? Oh, I might have. Let me check my. What are you talking about? Oh, I misspelled euro. Like it cares. It cares. And that, by the way, is a lesson about Salesforce. If it ain't exactly right, it ain't right. So now, so this is part of learning Trailhead too, right? So get a little time to get squared with it, because if you've done Trailhead a lot, like Divya has been cranking away 5-6 hours a day for 2 weeks, then, this is old hat. If I love the confetti, yay. If you haven't, then that becomes problematic. I mean, it's going to take a little get used to. So that's fine. You're going to get good at Trailhead, because this is going to be your ongoing learning and development tool for you. And when you're done, just click the X so that we can go to the next section with that navigation. Trailhead's a little weird right now. It might change tomorrow. But when you set more badges, it takes you back to the home page, and that's just a pain in the wank. What doodle. Okay. How are we doing? I need to hear you. I'm very needy as an instructor. I need to know you're doing okay. I need to know you're with me. I don't want you falling behind. So let me know. Give me that. Yeah, I'm going to post it for everybody to see. Give me that green checkbox when you completed that piece of the trail. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, confusion, excitement? It's going so fast. I love it. Okay. I don't see any green checks. How are we doing? I'm going to unmute everybody. So if you're doing something weird, stop it. I'm going to unmute you in 3, 2, 1. All right, you're all unmuted, unless you unmuted yourself at the same time.
Green checks, I'm not following you on that.
So if you click on your Zoom meet, it's one of the Zoom meeting controls.
Oh, Zoom things, all right.
It's a Zoom feature. If you go to participants, I think that, yeah, participants will give you the little controls.
I got you.
No, go slower, go faster.
All right, I got you.
Coffee, you love me, you hate it. You need a break, you're away. Can you all see the little check boxes next to your names on my screen right now? Anybody?
No.
Yep.
I can't.
Okay. Who said
So
no?
I can see it on mine.
You have to press the participants.
Yeah, you got to click.
Tab.
Well, I mean, you can't. Can you see mine on my screen? Because sometimes it doesn't show.
I can't see yours, but I can see mine.
See yours. Okay. I didn't want to put it on the screen if you couldn't see it. So I know some of you know where this is at. And you're good. Scroll. Brian, you're good to go. Thank you, Brian. Okay. Now, how do you fix this problem that we created called every time I change the exchange rates, it screws up my financial reporting? You don't want that to happen. So there's actually 2 solutions. I'm going to give you the Trailhead solution first. And then I'm going to go through and some people never do this solution because, well, everybody does. Actually, they do. But they do it. They don't have to match up update the currency. It doesn't have to be right every time you close an opportunity. So it becomes a little tasky. So I'm going to clear all these check boxes. I'm going to talk about updating with advanced currency management. So advanced currency management says the exchange rate on all my opportunities that are right now that are dated between this date and this date will have this exchange rate. And then next date to next date, any opportunities within that close date range will have another exchange rate. So it's called advanced currency management. So we're just going to get our fingers dirty and do it. And we're going to go back to manage currencies. So I'm going to go back to my setup menu. And when I click, I'm still in the current, if you're still in the currency where you were, if you weren't, then click on company information and go back to currency setup. And what we're going to do is we're going to enable advanced currency management. So once we enable advanced currency management, it's going to ask us if we want to do it. And it tells us all of these things are good to read whenever you want. For passing the test, I'll just show you what you need. But it's basically saying now exchange rates are going to be time stamped, and you're going to set the time frame of the rates so that any opportunity created, let's say every month you pick an average exchange rate, and then you have that be the average exchange rate for that month, and then you end up doing the math. But we're going to click innate. We're going to click the yes box to confirm, and then enable. And then what's going to happen with our currency? Oh, I got a pop-up blocker. So open. So it didn't let me pop it up. That's fine. It's now enabled. And now I'm going to refresh my Lightning page. So that was a pop-up blocker that messed me up. You might have had the same thing. So now you may notice that your currency page looks a little different. It doesn't list all the currencies and the exchange rate. What you have to do is manage. Here, I'm going to move this over a little bit. I'm going to manage the dated exchange rates. And this little splash screen, you can click don't show it again, or you can leave it if you want to read it again to refresh yourself. I'm going to take it off, let it go. And there's my list of exchange rates. So I don't have a previous range, and I don't have a next range. So I need to create a new exchange rate. So I'm going to click new exchange rate. And I'm going to pick a start date, which will be the first day of the next month. And I'm going to call it 1.13. Whoa. What did you do? Oh, it did it. Well, look at that. Okay. Let me know if you got that done. If you did, you can go back to your opportunity. So I'm going to click on the tab where I had my opportunity open because I didn't close it. I didn't tell you to close it, so don't. And all I'm going to change now, so my exchange rate is 1-to-1 as of January 30th. But I'm going to click a little action menu and click edit. I'm going to edit my opportunity and change the close date to February 1st. When I hit save, my currency is going to go from 10,000 euro to $10,000, 10,000 euro to 88.49 and some change. Anybody have a, and then let me click retake the step. Whoops. Let me verify the step. And if I follow the instructions correctly, there it is. You should get your little badge and your points, and life is good. Let me know if you ever run into any trouble with that. Does this make sense for you guys about why you would have a managed exchange rate?
Yeah, how are you getting that separate window? I'm sorry, I wasn't tracking on that one. To create your opportunity?
So what, when I'm gonna close that one. Which one are you talking about? The one here?
Yeah, just in general, where you set up that separate window so you can access opportunities. And
So when you're on the front end of Lightning and you click Setup, it opens up the Setup menu in a new tab.
right.
So I just left my front end tab open, and I'm flipping back and forth between the two. So here's my front end, and then here's the other tab with my Setup menu.
Well, when I opened up my development instance, it only showed the home and object manager. It never showed those other tabs.
Oh yeah. So you'd have to if that's the case, then you have to click Setup, and then choose one of the apps.
Mm-hmm.
You just click Sales, and then they keep tweaking these little settings on how to get back and forth to Setup. It was easy in Classic because it was all one screen. You couldn't do it otherwise. So that would leave you with you got to kind of double dip it. So
I got the sales. I'm in there now. Okay.
and then just click Setup, and then you'll be good to go.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'm going to close that one now. I'm going to go back to this one and go back to that one. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Because in the developer account, it'll open up in the setup menu because the developers doesn't give a crap about the front end. He can work from the back end to produce the front end. Okay, did everybody complete and verify the step for advanced currency management? And again, the reason you do that is because for your currencies, you want to have, as of this time frame, the exchange rate was this. That maintains historical integrity. As of the next time frame, it goes to that. And we'll cover one more, which I think this is going to be great, which is customize the home page. And then we'll wrap it up for today. Because this will take some time, and then we'll cover anything we missed and all that kind of stuff. All right, everybody good to go? Anybody need any questions, comments, concerns moving forward? So I'm in the Trailhead Customize homepage. I'm actually going to put it, if you got lost or if you click something and it's weird, then I'll just put it in the link of the chat, just so you can get all that squared away. And then I'm going to leave you with an assignment to keep moving forward between now and Monday on to complete this trail and the next one. So again, when we're talking about setting up the company, right now what we set up was we made sure that the company information was correct, the contact information was correct, the locale, all those things affect all users unless the user changes some of those settings for themselves. So remember that company settings affect all users, and in some places the user, whatever's personal, Salesforce allows the user to set it up for themselves personally, like language, time zone, locale. Those are things that, and currency, the user record will always convert from whatever the company settings are when it comes to currency, locale, time zone, and language. The user record will control that, so pay attention to that. So now what we're going to do now affects different groups of users, called customizing the homepage, because the homepage itself is really a set of shortcut to information, so that you can see, get a quick snapshot of the most important things your company says, so you get a handle on what, when you log in, you start at home, right? By default, Salesforce, and I'm going to maximize my screen for a second. By default, Salesforce shows up with this quarterly performance report, which is a personal goal tracker per quarter that each individual user can have. It shows the events that are scheduled for today, the tasks that are due for today, recent records that you've accessed, as well as key deals, your recent opportunities. That also, you can change the criteria a little bit. And then the assistant is part of the Einstein intelligence feature built into Salesforce. It says, hey, based on what I know about stuff that's in Salesforce, you should pay attention to this stuff, right? So that's what the assistant does. But this is completely customizable. So let's talk about how we're gonna customize a home page. How do we make this page relevant for different groups of users? All is a group, or some is a group. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump right into the setup menu, and in the quick find box, just type in Lightning app. That'll bring up the Lightning app builder. And when you're there, click on the Lightning app builder. And we don't have any custom pages yet. Everything is standard, straight out of the box. Now, when I say standard, did I tell you what standard means? Means two words. Anybody remember what it means? You put it in chat, or you can unmute yourself.
I mean, you don't customize them. You can't.
Okay. You can't customize standard. You can only copy it and then customize it. I want you to think hardwired. Anything standard is hardwired. You really can't make too many changes to it. It's almost like Divya said, by default, kinda, right? Kinda default, but I want you to think hardwired, because when you take the test, they're going to give you options that says you can change this standard thing. And I want your radar to go off and go, wait a minute, that's standard, that's hardwired. Can I really make that change? So you got to look, there's some things you can change, but really you're more polishing the poop, not creating something different. So we'll get into that. So anyway, so we're going to modify. We're going to create, I want to make sure everybody's here too. So some of the talking I do also stalls to give you guys some time to catch up. So keep working on the goal, whatever we're working on. But in this case, we're going to create a new home page. So in the Lightning App Builder, we're going to click New. It's going to give us a choice of what kind of page we want to do. So there are app pages, home pages, and record pages. We're going to get into those later on, mostly the app and the record page. But we are going to, and because my screen's a little wonkalicious, just click on home page and click next. And we have to do this one like it says in the trailhead, because it's going to check our work. So we're going to call this one the support homepage. So what I typically do, which I didn't do in the Euro currency test, is I take that red text and I copy it, and then I just paste it in the label so that I'm sure to pass the test that Trailhead does. All right, everybody, support homepage is what we're going to create, and then click next. And then we're going to use the standard homepage as our template. Notice, and we'll come to this later, it's not just Lightning, but in Salesforce, you can create a custom domain like mycompany.my.salesforce.com. That's called a my domain. And what that allows you to do when you create a my domain is access different features available to you in Salesforce. One of the main features that it was used for, it's a little tidbit, is single sign-on. So that when you went to your custom URL, based on your cookies and your history of logging in, it looks at your federation ID from your laptop and all that crazy computer stuff and lets you just go right into Salesforce instead of having to go to login.salesforce.com, where it takes your unique username and then finds where you belong in the world. So just know that that's the case. We're gonna do that later on as well. but I'm just pointing it out while you catch up with the steps in the process. So make sure you're catching up while I'm talking. You don't have to watch while I'm talking. So a couple of things. I'm going to go ahead and the couple of things that it's telling us to do, right? It's telling us to add these components to the page. Now, this is really the magic of Lightning. Lightning components are a big freaking deal. What I mean by that is they're like the Salesforce is going all in with these components. And just so you know, we're going to keep it standard Salesforce for now. But Lightning components are how you do like connect to other applications, other data, other features, almost an unlimited amount of things you can do with it. So we're going to follow the eyes and we're going to drag the recent item components into any spot. And this blue area is called the canvas. So let's look. There's 27 standard Lightning components and an unlimited amount of custom ones. We're going to, so let's look through some of these. Now, if we want to we know we want recent items, right? Remember it said recent, let me try to get this down. Recent items, so you could start typing in recent, and then we'll just drag that to the home page. I like to put it on the very right-hand corner. And then the items that we want to look at, when you click on the component itself, it's going to say, well, which objects recently do you want to use? So in this case, if you click on the component, and then on the right-hand side, you can now customize that component. So we're going to click the select button, and we're going to move the case object. Remember, that's all, if you don't know what cases are your customers' questions, problems, concerns, or issues that you collect, because when a customer calls you, emails you, Snapchats you, Twitters you, whatever, however they get to you to communicate to you, and they say, hey, I got a question or a problem, you got to answer it. Now, how do you answer it now? You reply to the email. But that's not Salesforce way, right? That's regular way. So we want cases, because this is a support homepage, we want to show a support user what their recent cases were. Now, you could leave accounts too, but we're going to take that out. So I'm just going to click and drag it back. So all we're going to have is the case object selected for recent items, because that's the item that service support users use all the time. We're going to set it for 5 most recent records. If I understand, yep, we're going to set the number of records to display so that when a support user logs in, they go to their homepage, they'll see the 5 most recent cases that they personally viewed. All right, and I like to click save, but you don't have to. Who came back? I guess somebody popped out and came back. It looks like everybody's back. Okay. And then I like to save, and then don't show me this again. I'm not going to activate. I'm just saving as I go. Why? Because stuff happens. Okay. So now that we've done that, if we move to the next step, which is show chatter posts where the support rep is mentioned. So remember, we talked about chatter being a collaborative communication tool built into Salesforce. So that I'm going to now type in feed. And notice I've got a chatter feed. So under my recent records, this is where it gets a little, you might want to watch me do this. If you're if you're doing it on your own, you want to see it. I'm going to pull my chatter feed in, and I want to drop it in right below the recent items. It takes a little bit of mouse magic to figure out how to do this. So just trial and error your way through, and you'll be fine. And I'm going to click on my chatter feed. And then now that I've added the component to the canvas, I want to customize the component to show me what do you want to see from chatter. And you have 3 options: the things that I've saved, the things that I follow, or the messages directly to me. Why this is important to a support user is because a case object is like a little project folder, right? Where if you have a problem with a customer, you're going to talk to the customer, you're going to talk to people internally. You're going to talk to people externally. You're going to be calling all these people and having all these notes and records. And that case is going to have a chatter feed. As you start talking to people internally, you might want to see which people in your company maybe are asking you questions, giving you feedback, all those kind of things. So you want to see what's to you, and then click save. I know it doesn't say click save. I like to click save. Any questions or comments about that? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
So this customization is for the whole organization, right? But if
Not yet. I'm going to show you how we're going to assign it just to support users, not everybody.
okay, got it.
Does that answer your question? Yeah, I'm going to show you that when we get to the end, when we activate it. Then we tell it which groups of people do we want to see this homepage versus another homepage. Again, you want to present data and information to the person based on relevance, their job, what's important to them, what makes them money or saves the company, whatever they do in their job.
But once we make the changes, the users can make their own customization later, right?
They can do a little bit, not a lot. They
Okay.
can't do a lot. They can do a little, but not a lot.
Okay.
Yep, good. All right. So now we're going to add we're going to show today's task and today's events, which are two components. Whoops. So I'm going to go down to today, and I'm just going to take today's tasks, today's events, and today's tasks and drag those components onto the screen. Now, there's not a lot you need to do to customize these. They're already kind of pre-built. They work just fine. The last thing I want to, well, I don't know if this is the last one yet. And we're going to do one more because it's going to check for these. I'm going to drag this one called rich text. Now the reason this one is here is to show you that I'm going to put it right. Where did I drop it? Oh, sometimes it drops, sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to put it down below in the right-hand column. So I'm going to take my rich text, and what this is saying is, it's like a Word document. If you want to post a Word document, you can. And I'm going to take Salesforce Trust. You can even add links. So I highlighted Salesforce Trust, added the link. Now, this is a great way from the homepage to kind of create like quick links to other external interweb systems that are on the interwebs, right? Not fancy. It's just easy. You could just put in that one page, have a whole list of documents. Bam, everybody's got it. And you could display it as a card. You could just you play with these settings as you wish. Now I'm gonna also just go over these standard ones, right? You can play with all of these depending on like what you like and what you see, what you think is going to provide the most value to your end users. But you can add things like, you can add a little dashboard in there. You can add, I don't have any dashboards available, so let me take that out. And if you screw one up, this is really tough with the mouse. But see how I'm hovering over that little bitty trash can? It's hard to see. It's even harder to see on my screen when you're looking at my screen. So you're just kind of doing this by feel. I'm going to say this is the performance dashboard. Doesn't matter for these guys, but I don't know if I have a report chart that works. Let me see if I have a report. Yeah, I don't have a report in this org, so it won't be pretty. But you can grab anything that you want from standard. Let's see. I'll tell you one that's really cool is, where's the news? Trending topics. I'm just going to throw that one here at the bottom. Actually, we'll throw it at the top. All right. Now, once I'm done, click Save. And now we're on to activate the new homepage. So when you're ready, click Activation. because the instructions say activate because they're not saving along the way. Now, we're going to assign it to apps and profiles. So if you saved along the way, go ahead and click apps and profiles, app and profile, and then click assign to apps and profiles. So what are apps? All those little, when you click the 9 dots, all those little boxes are apps. That's it. They're apps. What is an app? It's a collection of tabs. What are tabs? They're your access to object data. That's it. So a collection of tabs is an app. You can add this homepage to those apps. So we're going to add it to the service console. And is there a custom? Yep. We're going to add it to the service console. Click next. And then we're going to add it to the custom support profile. Now let me give you a little, we're going to talk more about profiles next week. Profiles are the set of permissions that each user gets when they get their license to Salesforce. It's a set of permissions. Think of it this way. When you turn 16 in most states, you now can get some type of driver's license, right? And so that's what so when you're a user, it's kind of like turning 16. Like, hey, I'm now on my way to being human. I'm about halfway there. So now what can I do with that? Now that I'm 16, I can go get licenses. So when I go get my Salesforce license, right? That's going to determine what I can do and what I can see inside of Salesforce. That's the profile. It's a set of permissions connected with your license. So for example, I have a driver's license, looks just like your driver's license. Mine is endorsed for motorcycles. I've got an additional set of permissions. I used to have a commercial driver's license because I used to drive commercial trucks. Why? Because they were big and I liked them. And that's how you deliver beer. So I had another permission on my license. So the profile is like that set of permissions that you have on your license, right? And so we'll go, that's all I'm going to say about that. And when we're done, so we're going to choose the custom support profile, not a standard profile. And I'm going to click save. Now that I'm done, I can go back. Oh, you know who I didn't, did I supposed to, hold on. I made a mistake. I didn't add it to the system administrator, so I can't see that profile. You saying as an administrator, you can create things and not see them? Yep. The good news is though, you can not see them. You can change the settings, and you can go back and update. You can update. So I got my service console. You can go back and change it and update it. So I'm going to add my system administrator, and I'm going to make sure, just to make sure, I don't need, it's already on there, but we're going to make sure. And there's other ways to go about doing this. See if I did it right. And if you miss a step, yep, it changes everything. Okay, good. So now I've got my support homepage. And you can retake the step and verify it. You can also check it this way. So if you go back to your interface and you click on the 9 dots and you go to, remember we assigned it to the service console and your profile. So remember, so if I were logged in as a sales user, I would not see this, even if I went to this profile. So the service console is a little different in that it's laid out differently. So next to service console, you'll see a little drop down. And if you click the drop down arrow, scroll down to home, and you can see there's my rich text. There's my recent items. I haven't seen any cases yet, so I don't have any. I've got no tasks and no events, but those are the components that I laid out on the page. And if you got that, case isn't what? What you talking about, Willis? I might have missed an instruction because I do. Let me just see my recent. Did I remove? Wait, no. Cases 5, yeah. Ufungu. I'm going to move you to that. Did everybody get it? I think it's right, but you know, Salesforce tends to think something different. So sometimes there's a hitch in the giddy up. You just got to move on. What are you talking about? You said any column. It says any spot in the canvas. Oh, I didn't change the label. Fungu. Sorry. I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I did. Label. Yep, if you miss a detail, you end up going back over, but I think repetition is the mother of skill. You're going to miss stuff. You need to know how to go back and check it and then fix it. That's just real world. That's just real world training going on right now. All right, we got 8 minutes. Questions, comments, concerns. Okay, so part of preparing your org for users is we're gonna talk about this. The account list view, you know how to do that. We did it with leads. If you don't, follow the trail. And for the next one is create a chatter group. Go ahead and do that. We haven't done it yet. It's fine. Now we're going to go back to the trail head. I just want to make sure I got you squared away. So when that's done, go back to my trail mix. And I just went to the chat, so I can go back to this trail mix. Did I get the right one? Oh no, I didn't. Let's see. Whoops, I didn't go far enough back. Here we go. And again, you can move through these as fast as you want to. Just hit me up with questions if you got it. So prepare your Salesforce org for users, and then user management. If you haven't done that trail, that'll be your next trail to do. If you want to move forward, customizing an org to support a new business unit, this is where we're going to talk next week. We'll talk a little bit about user management just to check your questions. But Monday, we're going to talk about setting up how users access Salesforce. We talked a little bit about it, a little pre-frame about something you have and something you know when it comes to your username and password and your cookie in your browser. But there's also things like trusted IP addresses and restricted IP addresses and restricted hours. And we'll talk about how all that works with the profile. And then we'll move on from there. I'm going to move something around. There's something missing in here. It's in the wrong spot. I will fix that. So before you get too far ahead, but just if you do that one and the one prior to it, you'll be good to go. Questions, comments, concerns, tell me. I'm going to unmute everybody in just a second. So in 3, I'm going to get your feedback and check box if you're doing okay. In 3, 2, 1, you're unmuted. Unless you're unmuted, then you got to unmute yourself. Okay, so how you guys doing? Matthew, how was your first class with Sales and Tech, the SuperUser Academy? Melinda says fine. Thank you, Melinda. Fine. Was it better this time, Melinda, than it was Monday? Julia, thank you for that. Gil, how was it for you tonight? Any questions, comments?
I'm wondering if like, today I used my developer for
Yeah.
Trailhead. I had already started Trailhead with a different email. And I'm wondering if they're going to combine or if I need to do something.
That's a great question. This is good for everybody. So if you click on your, if you're in trailhead.salesforce.com and you click on your face, click on your face and then go to settings. Where you can connect your connected accounts. So there's two types of accounts you can connect, email addresses and Salesforce login orgs, usernames. So your Salesforce accounts, so Julia, you at Computer Futures, you got your Julia or your J, whatever your Julia, whatever your login is for Computer Futures, you can connect that account to this Trailhead account. You can also connect it to any other dev orgs or even playgrounds. And then you can also connect various different email addresses. And I'm finishing up giving everybody, it's a different system than I was using before that didn't work. I'm going to go through and you'll have your name at salesandtechnology.com. It'll be your first name dot your last name, except for Julia. I'm pretty convinced I'm going to do Jazz at salesandtechnology.com. And if you want it to be different, you can let me know right now because I'm just creating them. And that'll forward to whatever address I have for you, which then I will use to set up your account that we have on our own learning system on Sales and Technology, the student dashboard for this class. But again, you can connect as many different email addresses as you have. When you connect, add your email. If I did, it will send me an email and verify it. The other things you can do is you can also connect your different social media accounts. And with those social media accounts, where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Where is my? I didn't get it yet. But you should be able to get Gil, you should be able to connect all your email accounts. I don't have
Yeah, I did. And I have 2 Salesforce accounts and 3 emails now connected.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, everybody. Listen, keep blazing that trail. Let me know if you need help along the way. If you need to schedule a call, go to calendly.com/DominicX. I'm going to post it in the chatter to everybody. Some of y'all already done it. You already know it, but just in case. Do it now before I get crazy busy. Otherwise, reach out to Amy. If you have any comments or questions, I'll see you Monday. We're gonna keep motoring through, and again, you can move faster if you want. Just ask me questions about what we're talking about in class so far. But thank you for taking this on. I look forward to having all of you being certified by May 7th. That's your deadline. All right. So thanks, Matt. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you.